Welcome back to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital, the sports tech venture capital company. And on this show, I interview top sports entrepreneurs, athletes, and executives who are shaping and many times changing the overall sports industry. Today, my guest is Travis Williams, president of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I'm so excited to have Travis on the show. I mean, he's been the president of two professional teams in the city of Pittsburgh, and just talk about all the things that he's done, as well as the overall sports business landscape and how it's changing almost on a daily basis. Travis, welcome to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, so excited to have you on the show. I mean, you've had such an amazing career already. I know there's so much more that I'm sure you want to do across the sports industry. But I think, to get started, I mean, it would be great to, share with, our audience here on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, what it's like being, the president of the Pirates today, and what some of the roles and responsibilities that you have in that role.
Well, it's when you're opportunity to be a part of a professional sports organization, it starts with fun, and it's not all fun, but it's a lot of fun to get up every day. And when you drive your car and you pull in the garage at your work, you get to walk across the baseball field on your way to the office. So there's a lot worse jobs out there that people could have, and I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to call PNC Park my office. So that's where it starts. But
hey, Travis, that's not so bad. I mean,
it's not so bad.
I mean, PNC Park is one of the most beautiful ballparks in the country. I mean, quite frankly, in the world, to watch any sport. It's just spectacular.
No, it is. It is. It's we're biased, but we do believe it's the best ballpark in America. I was fortunate early in my career to do some of the legal work around when they were building PNC Park, and it's kind of my foray into sports was early on in my career as a lawyer. And I've been fortunate that took me into hockey for a little while, and I got a chance to be a part of building a phenomenal arena, PPG Paints Arena. And then I got a chance to go up to New York and be a part of the early planning stages of UBS Arena. And that's a spectacular venue as well, if you've been there. But I've had a very, like I said, very fortunate career to be a part of professional sports. It's not all roses at all times, as you know. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. There's not a lot of the sexy stuff that people see on the outside all the time behind the scenes, but we are fortunate to be able to work in this industry.
Well, take us behind the scenes a little bit, as much as you can. What's a day in the life of a president of a professional sports team?
Well, I don't think. I think the first the start to that answer is there is no there is no one day that you have every day. I always say you get up every morning, and the nice part about this job and this career is that every day is different. So one day you may be dealing with a player issue or a player matter, whether that be the draft or a trade deadline decision that you're making, or a decision to bring a player up from the minors and give him his debut, and talking through that with your general manager. The next day you may be working with your head of marketing on a large event that we're going to do that is related to our brand, and the next day you may be in the weeds on looking at a new ticketing technology in order to be able to propel us forward and help sell more tickets to games. So there's no, like I said, no 2 days are ever the same, which is probably the reason I love this so much, this career so much, is that it does give you the opportunity to touch a lot of different areas within business. And really at the end of the day, while on the front, most of what people see is what happens on the field. What happens off the field is very much similar to traditional business practices.
Well, earlier this year, you had one of those moments, right, where you were able to bring someone up from the minors, and it was a heck of a. Maybe tell a little bit about the background of that. I mean, that was a pretty special moment.
Yeah, no, we those are always decisions that you want to make sure you're doing the right thing and bring people along, throughout their career. And so, we have a very special player last year that we brought up at the very end, and obviously brought him up at the beginning of this year, which was O'Neal Cruz. You don't find many 6'8" shortstops who can run faster, hit harder, and throw harder than most any other human being on the planet, and that includes all sports. So when you have that type of talent and you're able to bring it along and develop it, you want to do it in a way that makes sense for that athlete, right? You don't want to accelerate it for just pure fan experience and the fans being able to see it. You want to make sure that you're also developing them and bringing them along in a way that helps them succeed, because quite frankly, their success long term is ultimately our team's success as well.
So when you talk about the day in the life of a president of a team, it starts almost sort of, as you said, a little normal like a regular. Anyone has a regular job. They get up, they drive to their office. The difference is you're driving to the ballpark, but your days are not normal days. The normal day ends and then the game starts, right?
Exactly. No, I that's what everybody always laughs. They said, "Oh, you must, you get in like, noon and, you hang out a little bit. You have the game at 5." No, that's not the way it works. I have a normal, 8 to 6 to 7 o'clock schedule that most business executives have. And then, by the way, I have a game that night that I'm probably entertaining some, whether it be an elected official or a sponsor or some other VIP that is a friend of the organization, and bringing them to a game. So I am here pretty much around the clock. I think yesterday pulled in the garage about 7:30 in the morning. I think last night I was pulling out probably around 10 or 10:30. So, and that's a normal day when you have a big series. We have a big homestand between the course of this week against the Nationals and then into the weekend against the Yankees. So I tell myself I try to at least take one night off from each homestand. Doesn't always work out that way, but I've tried to train myself to do that, just to give yourself a little bit of a breather. Baseball is definitely a different pace and volume than what I experienced in hockey. Hockey had nights off in between games usually, even if they were home for a period of time. You didn't play every night. Baseball, you're taking this in chunks of 7 games straight, and to be able to put on a show and entertain a large party for 30,000+ people 7 nights in a row, that's not easy, right? And the energy level that not only I need, but all of our executive team needs to be able to put on that show and to be able to entertain or have that big party, because that's really what these are. They're parties for 18,000 in an arena, or 30,000+ in a ballpark, or 50,000+ in a football stadium. That's really what we're doing. We're throwing one big party, and when you do it 7 nights in a row, that wears you down after a little while.
Well, you're in such a unique position, I would say. I mean, you have a tremendous owner in Bob Nutting, someone that really cares for the team, the city, really wants to put on that show, wants to put out a winning club on the field, and what's that relationship been like for you across all the different owners that you've worked with, and what is that dynamic?
Well, it's funny to mention it, because I always tell everyone that's thinking about taking a position like this with an organization or with a team, the most critical piece of that is the owner. Don't the market, the team, the trajectory, whether they're up or down. At the end of the day, doesn't matter, because ideally you're there long enough that you're going to see all of that anyways. Really, at the end of the day, you want to work for an owner that you can respect, you can be aligned with, because that alignment is critical, and that you can have a good working relationship with. And I've been very fortunate. I've had 3 very different groups of ownership, but at the same time, I've been able to find that common thread of alignment and relationship that's really important to be able to allow me to succeed in representing them on behalf of their families or their businesses. And so, with the Penguins, I had 2 Hall of Fame owners, right? I had a Hall of Fame hockey player and Hall of Fame businessmen in Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux. And we obviously had a large amount of success. I think 10 years that I was there, we had 3 cups. We sold out every game for 10 straight years. We opened a new building. We opened a new practice facility. We were doing extremely well. And obviously that helps with alignment and that helps with the relationship. So the success did breed that. But even in the difficult times, we made a GM and a coaching change in the middle of that run because we saw directionally we weren't going the right way. And even in those difficult times where you have those difficult decisions to make, that alignment and that relationship is important. And then I went up to New York and I got to work with Scott Malkin and John Ledecky, who led the new ownership there, taking over from Charles Wong. And that was an interesting one because we were taking back over the business from Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment. Charles had made the decision to move the team there to play in their arena in Brooklyn, and allow them to run the business, if you will, ticket sales and marketing. And so that was a unique situation. And obviously Scott and John wanted to take that back over. They brought me in to basically take it back over. And in 1 year that I was there, we went from 18 full-time employees that were Islander employees to 100 employees, moving our headquarters out to where the new arena was being built. We got the deal done and shovel in the ground. And then I got and again, that alignment of directionally, here's what we want to accomplish, here's how we're going to do it, and making sure that, not only did I have the skill set to do it, but I had the ability to have a close relationship and a working relationship with them and be aligned on what our direction was. And that was critically important, especially in that first year there. And I would still be there except for Bob. Bob called me, and I've known the Nutting family for a long time. I knew Bob's dad actually before I knew Bob, from days when I was a young associate at Reed Smith, and we represented Kevin McClatchy when he owned the team. And I would come over with the senior partner, and I would participate in the board meetings, sit there and take minutes as a young associate, and got a chance to get to know Bob's dad. And then I got to know Bob as their family started to take a larger ownership percentage in the Pirates. And Bob and I stayed in contact. Obviously, being involved in the Pittsburgh market, it's a small market. Sports is important. And so we got to know each other a little bit through that as well. And he called me up and said, "Hey, we're going to make some changes, and I'd love to have you come back to Pittsburgh. You belong in Pittsburgh." And I said, "I just got up here. I just moved my family. Like, how do we, he says, "Have you sold your house?" I said, "No." He says, "Good." He said, "I'm glad you haven't sold your house yet." So I just moved my family up there 3 months prior because they lagged behind me moving to New York. And the opportunity to come back to a city I love, to work in a sport that I love, and for a team that I started my sports career in as an outside counsel young associate, and to work with Bob and the respect I had for him. And really that alignment coming into this job was two things. One, not only the commitment to win, as you stated earlier, but there was also that commitment to make sure that the fan experience was at the center of what we do too. And winning obviously helps fan experience, right? Fans are happy when their teams are winning, but there's also even when your team's not winning, you want to make sure that you're providing them with a great experience, because as I always say, and sometimes I get criticized for this, but I think it's true, and that is that your team can win, they can have your fans can have a bad experience, and they won't come back, despite the fact that they won. But your team can lose, and we don't want to lose, but they can lose. And you can provide a really great experience, and they'll remember that experience, and they'll want to come back and give it another shot. So I always, preach that to our team, and making sure that they always are thinking about the fan at the center of the overall experience when they come to the ballpark.
Well, as I said earlier, you have a beautiful ballpark with PNC, but you've taken it to the next level over the last few years. Fortunately, I've had the opportunity to go to a number of games and really see and experience all the new development, all the new things that you've done across, not only what you're doing within the ballpark, now what you're doing outside of the ballpark, what's being planned and things you're working on. Maybe share some of those kinds of things, because it's really been, it really is a really special experience when you walk into that place.
Yeah. And as you said, we start in a good place, right? PNC Park, one of the best ballparks in America. So you start there and you've got good bones, but the experience or the expectations of the fans experience is evolving, right, over time. And people are interacting with ballparks differently today than they did, 20 plus years ago when this ballpark was built. And so making sure that you you maintain the integrity of what was of what PNC Park was about, which was sight lines and the views and the overall experience, the social experience while people were at a ball game. And so we didn't want to touch the integrity of that, but we wanted to enhance it. And so we really looked in the first year to enhance the outfield experience, which we saw from many other ballparks. And we also brought in Janet Reed Smith, who's widely known as one of the preeminent experts at coming in and kind of, breathing new life into ballparks. And she's done it at Wrigley, and she's done it at Fenway, and she's done it at LA for Dodger Stadium now. And so we brought her on board to help us and said, we don't want to blow up the integrity of what we have here, but we do want to breathe new life into it. She really helped us. So we created a lot of social spaces in the outfield, different platforms and areas where people can observe the game differently. So we have one in right center where it allows them to look back into the ballpark, and we have a bar area where people can congregate, they can enjoy one another, and they can watch the game at the same time and stand there and have a great time. And we created a new one that overlooks the bullpen in left center field. And then in left field, where the bleachers were, we created 2 decks of bleachers, and in between we have a platform or a patio that fans can stand and watch the game. And we've seen tremendous success with these areas. No matter what the attendance is at a game, those are always packed. Those are areas where people are just having fun, and they're having fun being at the ballpark. They're having fun, whether it's family or friends. And that's what is great about baseball, is it brings family and friends together, generations of families in particular, to come and watch games. And then we sprinkled in a lot of new food concepts, and we brought a food consultant by the name of John Sergi on board to help work with our vendor Aramark and create some new food concepts, partner with some local restaurants. And we did that with a couple of different ones out in the outfield as well, to really give new life to that space. And it's been widely successful. And then this past off season, we did all of our main concourse concessions got a facelift, some new concepts, some new market areas, adding in technology with kiosk ordering and self-checkout units, really to improve not only the food offerings, and we wanted to make sure that we were doing that, but taking data and understanding how people are interacting with these, and really digging into things like, well, if we have concessions that have both beverage and food, and we can do a beverage counter next to it that is beverage only, or a self-checkout beverage counter, why wouldn't we move people that are in the food and beverage line that only want beverage over to that one and let them alleviate the line, so that people who want food and beverage, that line is much shorter, much faster, and they can order in a different way with kiosk ordering and self-checkout as well in those spaces. So we really dove into it to make sure that main concourse food and beverage experience was much better. And we're already seeing it in our NPS scores, and speed of service is increased. So good results so far through that work. But that, again, all about the fan experience at the center of those improvements. Brand new scoreboard, brand new team store. So a lot of fun things that we did in the off season. And then this season has really been focused, or this coming off season is really going to be focused on that experience from the outside in. And so we have a new plaza and retail space, which will be an experiential restaurant that we're doing across from our home plate entrance. And then in left field and center field, where the Clemente Bridge comes from downtown and people can walk across that, the new team store from the outside in. And we did some experiential elements that are outward facing there on game days as well. And so the whole idea is that on both sides of the building, as people approach it, they're starting their experience of being at a Pirates baseball game from the outside in. And that's really how people are consuming it today. Their experiences are starting from the minute they buy their tickets, and they have to have a great experience on buying the ticket. They have to have, you have to be able to tell them how to get to a game quickly, avoid traffic if you can. That parking experience has to be exceptional. And then that walk into the building, you want them to start getting energized, excited, and have fun for what they're going to experience once they get inside. And you want the focal point still to be the game, but you want to enhance it with all these other elements that you're adding into it. So if you can provide that experience, like I said, overall, I think we've won, despite the outcome on the field.
And then, of course, also in the outfield, you have that Diamond Kinetics batting cage,
Yes,
which
exactly.
we're both excited about.
Happens to be one of your portfolio companies too. No, no, it's that's great. No, Diamond Kinetics, CJ has been a great longtime friend of the organization. Obviously, both you and 76 Capital and the Nutting Company, TNC Ventures, have been there from the start for them. I think CJ really enjoys that relationship. But from our perspective, it just is one additional feature that we can add into the overall experience. And the technology that they have is really fun for both kids and adults to engage with. I mean, it's fun. You see mostly kids in there, right? Because I don't think adults don't want to be embarrassed that they're in the cage looking who do I swing like? But the swing match technology that they have has really been a great fan addition and feature that we've added into the kids area out there in the cages. So that's been a lot of fun. And that relationship with CJ has expanded even beyond that and doing things that they have with their baseball and their batting technology, being able to do that with our community in a community way with our RBI program, which is our inner city baseball program that the Pirates work on with the city of Pittsburgh and help sponsor. And we do a lot of camps and clinics with kids. And part of that this year was the ability for Diamond Kinetics to hand out the technology that they have to kids and allow them to be able to train at home. So it's been an absolute win-win in terms of what we can do in ballpark and what we've been able to do in the community with Diamond Kinetics.
Well, look, you have this unbelievable passion for what you do. I mean, every time I see you, there's a smile on your face. You're excited about what you're doing. I mean, what does the future look like for you and for the Pirates?
Well, I think first and foremost, bringing a championship to the city of Pittsburgh. That's if you read our strategic plan and our mission statement, championship caliber organization is certainly what we strive for day in and day out, and we're laser focused on that. So, trying to bring a championship to the city of Pittsburgh, and it can be done. The economics of baseball are what they are. Small market teams, it's difficult to win. We don't have the endless resources to be out in the free agent market like others, but we can't make that an excuse, and so therefore we have to figure out a way to win. And we've got the right team in place, led by our GM Ben Charrington and his team, and I'm highly confident that we're going to be able to do that in the next 5 years. And so that's where it starts. But off the field, I think continuing to figure out how we can improve the fan experience. And like I said, fan experience, in my opinion, is not just when you're at the ballpark and sitting in your seat. And, it's also, that fan experience at home. So how can you enhance the at-home experience as well when you're watching it on television or, whatever device you're watching it on these days, which is ever changing, but continue to make that experience great too. And you've got to also enhance the in ballpark experience to match the at home experience, right? I think that's what all sports is. That's a challenge that is not just for the Pirates, but is a challenge that all of us have to do. And that is, how can you make that experience as comfortable, enjoyable, exciting in ballpark as it is to be able to sit at home on your couch and have your favorite beverage and food and with your clicker and watch multiple sports. And so we need to be able to do that. And I think that's where really the industry is going and figuring out how can technology add to the at-home experience so they feel like they're live, and how can the live experience feel as comfortable and enjoyable as it is, and quite honestly, is on demand as it is at home. And that's going to be I think the pivot point within sports in the next 5 years. And hopefully we're at the forefront of it. And we certainly think about it daily. We, try to work with local partners in technology to figure out solutions for that. And I think if I were an entrepreneur thinking about where my next mark is, I would think that's really where, other than performance related technology, which obviously helps on-field performance, I really think the fan experience component and how technology can work to do that. Sports betting is a piece. I think that engages people and keeps people interested in sports. Maybe even when the score's not, is a little bit lopsided in a game, but you can have a micro bet or a prop bet on something and make it enjoyable and fun to watch every moment and create moments within a game that are fun and exciting. But I think we as executives in this industry, probably all of us have a challenge of figuring out those two components with the live and at home experiences.
What is that relationship as an executive, as president of a Major League Baseball team? Do you have interactions with other Major League Baseball presidents, Major League Baseball itself? How does all that work?
Yeah, well, within the league, we have regular meetings, both owners and presidents meetings that we all gather around and kind of a set agenda by Major League Baseball based on topics that are timely. Obviously, right now, a lot of us are thinking about the RSN industry and where that is. That's a big focus of ours as well, and figuring out a solution for next year. But we, on a regular basis, I talk to a group of presidents that are not only similarly situated markets, but facing a lot of the same issues and challenges that we have ahead of us. And so I talk to them on a fairly regular basis. And then I go outside of that network too. I go outside of baseball because frankly, within baseball, you want to avoid groupthink, where we're all thinking about baseball and solving it like baseball executives do. But I still tap in a lot of times to my old hockey network. Obviously, I have great relationships within the marketplace here in Pittsburgh. My former boss, the CEO of the Penguins, went over to the Steelers. And so, and I've known Art Rooney and their family and their executive team for quite some time. So collaborate a lot with them on a lot of different issues. And we talk a lot about the challenges of our marketplace. And I absolutely know the Fenway Sports Group guys fairly well from our baseball connections. But now that they own the Penguins, and I have a lot of obviously my old contacts from my days there, and so we talk a lot about the challenges from their perspective. And so it's a good collection of others. And then there are some just groups that you stay in touch with, that people put together panels, discussions on specific topics, and you try to stay as timely. Just like you and I talk about, esports and entertainment in general and technology in sports, when you're in town. I think those conversations are some of the best ones when you just, you're one-on-one with people in the industry and you say, hey, I've got this issue that I'm dealing with. How are you dealing with it? And sometimes that information sharing, idea sharing, just in those settings is probably the most important ones to help you formulate an idea or solution to something that you're, a challenge that you have ahead of you.
Well, Travis, this has been amazing having you on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. As we start to wind down the show, I have to ask you, I mean, you won 3 Stanley Cups, like what was that like? And did you get to drink out of the cup? I mean,
I will say those were pretty special moments. I think, I would say everybody always asks me, what's the most, if your favorite moments in your career? And I say, obviously, first and foremost, my favorite moments in my life are the family that I've created, right? I've got 6 beautiful kids who are in academics or who are in sports and who are in the arts and theater. And I love each and every one of them in their passions that they're pursuing. And I have a beautiful wife who, not only takes good care of me and lets me do what I do for a living, but also makes sure that they have what they need to be able to pursue their passion. So I'm fortunate to start there every day, just like I'm fortunate to be able to drive to PNC Park for work. But I think some of my favorite memories certainly are when we won the cup, the 3 cups. And I was, when I first got there on the first cup in 2009, I just started in 2008. My first day of work was the first day of the Stanley Cup Finals against Detroit in 2008, and we lost. And so I'm thinking, hey, you come to work every day and you go to a Stanley Cup Finals game, right? Funny story, my boys the next morning after we got eliminated in the 2008 finals, my oldest now, who's 24 and at the time would have been an 2008, he would have been 9 years old. So the day I get up after we got eliminated, I got up, I was getting dressed, I was getting ready to go to the office, and he looked at me and he says, Dad, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to work. He goes, well, you guys lost. You're done. Well, it doesn't quite work that way. What do you think? I sell popcorn or what? I've got to go to work and figure out how we're going to win the next one. So I was fortunate in 2009 that we did overcome the tough Red Wings team and won. But then, we had a period of time where we were really good, but we just couldn't get over the hump. And we did make the change with the GM and the coach. And then 16 and 17, the back-to-back cups were really special to be in that period of time because I had, along with David Morehouse and a lot of other people, we had our hands in kind of putting that group together with Jim Rutherford and Mike Sullivan. And, you obviously start with Sidney Crosby and Chris Letang, Marc-Andre Fleury, and the team that we had assembled was, had superstars, but it had really good culture and talent around it, and had a really good vibe, and you just could tell it was something special. And so winning those two was really fun. And I was fortunate that my boys were able to go to San Jose and be on the ice with us, and we raised the cup together when I got it handed to me at the end of the line, and that was really special. We did get cup for a day, and all three cups, which was a lot of fun. We did all get a chance to drink from it. My kids got a chance to eat an ice cream sundae out of it, which is kind of cool for them. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with it. We did a lot of special things too, with charities, and took it to people who otherwise were less fortunate, would never be able to get a chance to do that. I got a chance to, my name's on it twice, which is kind of cool. Won't go off for I think 45 or 50 years or something like that. So it's kind of cool. That's my fun fact when you have to do those fun facts about yourself that nobody would know. That's usually my fun fact. And then I think my favorite part of it was that after we won the first cup, I went on vacation to the Jersey Shore. And at that point in time, we had all the ring manufacturers from all over the country trying to ask us to use them to design our rings. And nobody wanted to take responsibility for telling one yes or one no. So somehow when I came back from vacation, they said, we appointed you the person that's going to take the lead on designing the rings. So for that ring and the two rings on the back-to-back, somehow I was anointed the guy who was going to lead the charge, obviously with a lot of input from a lot of people. So I got a chance to also be involved in that. So there's some really special moments woven in throughout that just, good memories along the way. A lot of good stories, a lot of good memories, but a lot of hard work went into it.
Hey, I had no idea you were a jewelry designer.
I didn't either.
Was there a special thing that you kind of thought of to do that was maybe different than some of the other rings that they in the past?
We really tried to weave in what was important to the team, and whether it was the slogans that they said, that were kind of their slogan or their mantra that motivated them. We inscribed that on the inside, which is kind of cool. It had special meaning only to them. We tried to do some neat things along the way in terms of number of diamonds translating into numbers of wins and stuff like that. But the stuff that a lot of other teams have done. But we didn't get. I always joked. I said they felt like a trophy on your finger. Like they weren't wearable rings, right? They kind of got gaudy at a certain point, and because you see the ones of the guys who won them in '91 and '92, like Mario would bring in his rings from that era, and they were wearable rings. Like guys would probably still wear them today. These things, they're in a box locked away in a safe, and someday my kids will pull them out and wear them.
They're too big and heavy. They're
Which is it's just part of par for the course, right? In where sports has gone.
Well, I hope you get the opportunity to do that again.
I do as well. That's why I'm here. I told Bob I came here to be able to do that across the river and for a different team, and it would not only be special for me personally, but quite honestly, I don't do it for me personally. It's for the city. It's a special sports town, as you know, and to be able to do it for them and to the fans who have long waited and certainly deserve a championship, and then to be able to do it for the Nutting family as well would be really special. And I hope I get that opportunity, and we're certainly working hard as hell to be able to do it.
Well, Travis, again, it's been awesome having you on our show. Travis Williams, the president of the Pittsburgh Pirates, you've been amazing and been a great friend, and so happy to have had this opportunity to have you on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. And I wish you the best of luck and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it. Take care.